It was September 15th when humanity said goodbye to one of its greatest explorers, not a person, but a machine, Cassini, a spacecraft that had traveled billions of miles, revealing the secrets of Saturn and its moons in ways we never dreamed possible. After 20 years in space, Cassini's journey came to a almost poetic end, but what truly stopped the world were the final images it sent back, pictures so stunning, so powerful. They felt more like messages from a dream. Cassini wasn't just a satellite, it was a time traveler, a storyteller, and an artist, all rolled into one. Launched in 1997, it took 7 years to reach Saturn. And once it arrived, it changed everything. It pierced the planet's thick golden haze and revealed the massive storms that raged beneath. It flew through the icy spray of Enceladus and confirmed what many had only hoped. This tiny moon had a subsurface ocean, and where there's water, there could be life. Cassini photographed Titan's orange skies and methane lakes. It watched as Saturn's rings danced in the light of distant suns. It showed us beauty we didn't know existed and mysteries we hadn't even thought to ask. But all good journeys must end. Cassini was running low on fuel, and NASA faced a choice: leave it drifting or steer it into Saturn, avoiding any chance it might crash into and contaminate one of the moons that could harbor life. So they chose a fiery, controlled descent. Cassini would dive into the atmosphere of Saturn and burn up like a meteor. But before it did, it turned its camera back toward the world that it called home for 13 years. What came next was nothing short of breathtaking. Cassini's final images weren't just data, they were art, emotion, history. It showed Saturn's North Pole, spinning with a hexagonal storm that has puzzled scientists for decades. It captured close-ups of the rings with such detail, you could almost hear them shimmer. One image showed Earth, a pale blue dot, distant and fragile, floating beneath the rings of Saturn. Another showed Enceladus, glowing against the blackness, still spewing geysers into space, still whispering possibilities of life. The very last photo Cassini took was of the place it would soon become part of Saturn itself. No filters, no tricks, just raw beauty. A golden gas giant, rippling with cloud bands and storm swirls, looking almost alive. It was as if Saturn, too, was saying goodbye. People around the world watched Cassini's end with awe, grief, and pride. Scientists cried. Artists were inspired. Children asked questions that adults couldn't answer. Because when Cassini died, it reminded us of something deep and universal. Our need to explore, to understand, to connect. It reminded us that machines built with human hands can reach across the void and show us not just where we are, but who we are. Cassini's final images stopped the world because they weren't just pictures of space. They were proof that we had gone far, seen deep, and returned with wonder. They were a goodbye letter from the edge of the solar system, signed with stardust and sealed with fire. Cassini may have vanished in the clouds of Saturn, but the echoes of its mission still ripple through the scientific world. What it left behind was more than images. It left us questions, dreams, and a roadmap for the future of planetary exploration. As its ashes scattered in Saturn's atmosphere, it handed the torch to the next generation of explorers, robots, scientists, and perhaps someday, humans. Among its final transmissions was a stream of data, recorded in real time during the final plunge. Even as it descended, being crushed and vaporized by Saturn's immense pressure, Cassini was working, measuring atmospheric composition, magnetic fields, and temperatures. Its instruments continued to send data until the very last second, until the signal simply vanished. Silence. That was how the mission ended. Not with an explosion, but with a soft fade to nothingness. And yet, that silence carried the weight of everything it had shown us. In its lifetime, Cassini discovered 6 new moons. It revealed that Saturn's rings are far younger than we once believed, perhaps only 100 million years old. It showed us that Titan has rivers, lakes, and even rain out of water, but of liquid methane and ethane. And perhaps most importantly, it confirmed that Enceladus, beneath its icy crust, has a global ocean with hydrothermal vents and environment not unlike Earth's early seas, where life may have first begun. If life exists anywhere else in the solar system, Cassini may have gotten us closer to finding it than anything before or since. But there is something even more powerful that Cassini did. It changed how we feel about space. It didn't just deliver science. It delivered every image it beamed, buck every golden swirl of Saturn, every silver arc of icy rings, every blue shadow dancing across Titan's surface spoke, not just to our minds, but to our souls. It reminded us that the universe is not cold and sterile. It's alive, with color, motion, rhythm. Cassini showed us that space is not empty. It is filled with stories, and we are capable of telling them. Perhaps one of the most haunting images Cassini sent back wasn't of Saturn at OLIT, was of us, that pale blue dot beneath the rings. Earth. Home. The entirety of human history reduced to a pixel suspended in shadow. Cassini wasn't looking for us in that moment. It simply happened to catch us in its field of view. And yet, that accidental portrait became one of the most profound reminders of our place in the cosmos. When Cassini ended, it sparked an outpouring of emotion. Online, people from around the world wrote tributes, shared artwork, composed music, and recorded videos saying goodbye. NASA scientists, many of whom had worked on Cassini their entire careers, stood together in mission control, holding back tears as the signal faded. One engineer said, "It was like losing a family member." Another called it a death in slow motion. It wasn't just a spacecraft, it was a vessel for human hope. And even though Cassini is gone, its legacy lives on. Its data is still being studied. Its discoveries have inspired future missions too. The James Webb Space Telescope and future Saturn probes owe part of their mission plans to Cassini's trailblazing work. We know what's out there now. We just need to reach it. Cassini taught us something vital, that the further we look, the more we understand not just what's out there, but what's in here inside us. Our curiosity, our courage, our capacity to care about a machine millions of miles away, diving into a gas giant it will never escape from. That's what it means to be human. To reach, to discover, to feel. Cassini's final images didn't stop the world because they showed us Saturn. They stopped the world because they reminded us that we are part of Saturn, part of its rings, part of its moons. We are made of the same elements: carbon, iron, oxygen, the same stardust. We belong to the universe. And Cassini was our messenger, our artist, our explorer. It gave us a glimpse into the unknown and whispered, "Look how far you've come." Cassini is gone, but its light, its journey, its vision still travels, and in that way, it will never truly end.